Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Doria. I am a clinical hypnotherapist certified in a few hypnosis modalities, including rapid transformational therapy, including, of course, Dolores Cannon's Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, QHHT, and I am a subconscious mentor and life coach, as well as an energy healer and channeler. And today's video will be a little bit long, I estimate, because as something very exciting is happening, and I am going through the level 3 practitioner training for QHHT, which is really incredible, I realized that I will have less and less time to have discovery calls with clients who are looking for a session. So if you're looking to understand more about QHHT sessions, about hypnosis in general, whether you have the session with me or with anyone else that your intuition thinks is best for you, I hope this video really helps you. And my intention is to demystify a little bit hypnosis and a little bit QHHT and help everyone who crosses my path or QHHT path or hypnosis path understand a little bit more about these beautiful, very powerful, very potent modalities. So here we are. I'm going to dive deep into these questions, and I started writing. I thought it would be a page and perhaps 5 of them, and I have no idea how many there are, but there are at least 15. So I hope you will find useful information here. I really would love to ask you as well if you'd like me to expand in any of the topics that I will mention today, or if you have any clarifying questions. I would really, really love to hear from you in the comments below. And if I have a chance, I will make sure to add some sort of summary to help you navigate this video in case it ends up being a little bit long. So you know where to find information in case you're looking for just specific questions. All right, so let's go. Demystifying QHHT. These are the most common questions that I hear, the most common topics that I speak to clients about, and I will probably make other future videos about this too, but here we go. First of all, if you ran into this video and you've never looked into this modality, QHHT essentially is a method developed by Dolores Cannon, and she started working on this about 40, 50 years ago. She started like me, by the way, fun fact, when I started in my days of working with hypnotherapy, with a different modality, and she started working with, the usual losing weight, quit smoking, addiction, and addiction and a lot of other topics. And what she realized after a while was that people were going into past lives because things were not adding up. So over time, she perfected this method over 40, 50 years, and she was truly a pioneer in her field. And she discovered some really, really interesting things. She discovered, amongst other things, that when people were seeing a past life, when her clients were seeing a past life, on the other side of visiting a life, they would get healing and they would get answers to all of their questions. So she ended up realizing that once they experience a past life and they finish and wrap up the life, they go into this place that she later called the subconscious. I will call it the higher self because I do other modalities too. And this is really what resonates with me, but you can call it whatever resonates for you. And she realized that in this space, they could get answers to any of the questions. She also realized something even more interesting than that in the space where they were getting after visiting a past life, she would have access to universal information. even when the clients were different, even if their backgrounds were different, even when they came with different issues to resolve in the session, they ended up all connecting to the same place. She ended up realizing that this is where we are all connected. So this is what I will refer to as the higher self. And the higher self is the part of us that does not incarnate in this body. So you can imagine us as unlimited eternal beings, and you can imagine the way Julia Cannon, Dolores Cannon's daughter, explains, which I really love this visual. We are a huge, huge funnel, a huge eternal funnel, and we are all connected up there. But then at the end, there's a little tiny string of awareness. And at the very, very end of that string, there's one dot. And that one dot is our incarnation in this lifetime. But we are so much more than that. So right now, because of the time that we live in, we have the ability to travel up that little wire, which I happen to think it's the inner voice, the intuition, and really get into our higher self and very, very deep into exploring other lifetimes as well. So QHHT started as, well, evolved into a past life regression. And it used to be the case that everyone or most subjects were going into a somnambulistic state while in QHHT. And what that meant was that they started to experience the session, and then they would ask the question, when are we beginning? And Dolores would tell them, well, you have connected to a different part of you, and we have been talking for 2 hours. You just don't remember it. So one very important thing to understand is that very, very few people now, for the most part, especially what I would say, I'm in New York City, and I apologize if you hear any background noise. I'm again in New York City, as proven by the background sounds, but you know, perhaps there's a different awareness. Perhaps people are here from all sorts of places in in the galaxy. But you know, I'm noticing that for most of my clients, the veil is very, very thin. And people are very aware in the sessions, and this is very, very important to understand. But when QHHT started and as it evolved, and in particular before 2012, it used to be a past life modality. Today, that is no longer just a past life regression. And it could be a future life, it could be a galactic life regression, it could be anything today. So it's really, really important to be aware of that and to set the expectations correctly, because this is how you will get the most information in the session. So, okay, what else? The difference between QHHT and other modalities is that not only it is a regression where you will have an experience, it is that you will also connect with your higher self. And in the space of connection with the higher self is the most powerful, because you can experience healing, emotional, mental, physical healing. You can experience clarity. You can get answers to any of your questions. And I would say that this is the difference between listening to a tape, to a recording, to a YouTube video of a past life regression, and a QHHT session, that in this experience you become the voice, the channel for your higher self. And the facilitator asks you questions in depth after an interview that you have in the beginning of the session, where they get to know you really well. They ask you a lot of questions, and you cannot really do that by just listening to a regression. Every experience has its place, and I really encourage you to listen to the recordings, to explore whatever resonates with you, but it's just really helpful to understand what one experience offers as compared to another. So in a QHHT session, we usually have 3 parts. The first part is the interview. So you arrive for the session, and you have a very deep conversation with your practitioner. This usually takes about 1.5 to 2 hours at least. The practitioner gets to know you really well. And when you are ready and you have discussed all of your questions, you moved into a second part of the experience, which is the hypnosis. And I will explain what hypnosis is and what it's not in a little bit. But essentially, you are then taken to a state of relaxation. And because you've had that conversation with a practitioner and they have your questions, but most importantly, they really understand you and they know what is important to you, you are guided in a very safe, very beautiful space where you become the higher self, you become the one experiencing, and you are being very safely held by your practitioner. So at the end of the hypnosis session, at the end of the experience, you will have a third part that is integration, where you discuss with your practitioner what happened in the session. Your practitioner will see things from a different perspective, and they will tell you things from a different perspective. And if it resonates with you, you could ask to record that conversation. So speaking of the recording, you always get a recording of the regression part. And the most important and potent part of the QHHT session integration, it's not only the conversation at the end with your practitioner, but it is you listening over and over again to the recording. No matter what your experience was, you will connect again, and you will go deeper and deeper every time you listen, and you will get more and more insights and downloads, and you will quantum leap yourself. You will accelerate the results by listening over and over again and reminding yourself of the state that you were in the session, of the information, of the clarity that you achieved, because our minds really like to pretend that we forget. We like to pretend that we were never told what we needed. And the more you listen to the recording, the more you realize that you're given everything that you need in the day of the session. In fact, this is the most important part, that 6 months later after the session, or 2 years later, you realize just how open and connected you are in the first place. So it's really powerful to review the session over and over again and listen. The ultimate goal of a QHHT session is not the experience. It's not seeing a past life regression or a future life. It is healing. And what this means is that you could be experiencing other lives or other types of existences. And now, a lot more than before, people go to, they regress not only to humans on Earth, they regress to other beings. Sometimes they have a body, sometimes they don't. They could be a specific form of consciousness. They could be a specific type of being. They could be an experience, a color. So, that is very beautiful to be shown things that way. But you could also be sitting in a green light the whole time, or in a white golden light the whole time. You might be feeling that you're awake, but you will not be awake. You will be aware. You will be hypnotized. And in that space, you might just get a lot of energetic downloads that you will later on integrate in the highest and best way for you. So when people have the question, does QHHT work? Will it work for me? The answer is always yes. It works because it shows you in a lot of depth, by taking you in the deepest state of relaxation, of hypnosis that you can experience, considering who you are, considering the times that we live in. You will be taken to the deepest possible state of relaxation, and get the deepest answers that you can get in that day, but most importantly, the most amount of healing. So the hypnosis always works. It's a matter of integrating it properly and understanding what is it showing me and what did I get from the session. So it's very, very important to understand, because with this mindset and this perspective, you can actually go to a session and knowing that it works. The most important thing is to relax as much as possible, knowing that you are safe. And in that state of relaxation, you will receive even more answers if you do so. So another question that I hear is, well, let's talk about the questions that you can bring to a QHHT session first. Typically, especially for the first session, we cover everything. We cover what we call characters, people in your life. These could be people who are no longer alive. These could be people who are no longer in your life at all, present. But if something is unresolved, especially parents, especially siblings, especially spouses, ex-spouses, romantic partners, if something is unresolved and it feels that it needs to go on the list, especially in the first session, we are clearing the slate and you want to make sure you bring whatever seems relevant to you. Because once you clean the slate, then subsequent sessions can look very, very different. But it's really the most amount of healing that you can receive, particularly in the first session, irrespective of how you experience it, will open up the door for more and more in subsequent sessions or experiences, even if they're not QHHT, by the way. So questions about characters, anything that feels unresolved, particularly family, questions about life purpose, mission, the origin of the soul, all sorts of miscellaneous questions, interesting experiences. That could be something like ETs or anything at all, missing time. It could be something that has to do with the gifts that you are having or what you are here to do in this lifetime, and also physical healing. I generally consider healing a category that includes physical healing, mental healing, and emotional healing. And I can talk about results another time, but I have worked with clients who were experiencing very significant, very extreme distress, mental, emotional, physical. And after just one session, whether it was QHHT or it could have been rapid transformational therapy, to be honest, but particularly after one session of QHHT, depression, anxiety, trigger alert here, suicidal ideation, physical issues, they disappeared instantaneously and they never came back. So that is a potential that is very, very important to keep in mind. And if you are open to it, and if your practitioner, of course, is open, the space of this session makes it possible that you could be healed instantaneously. For healing, I'll talk about it more in a little bit, but essentially, you could ask for healing at mental, emotional, physical levels. And this is the most important thing to understand. The QHHT framework, which is not really unique, so many others have been speaking about it. The concept is that the body should always be feeling healthy and should not experience any distress, unless, of course, there's a karmic reason, in which case you will most likely find out in the session. But otherwise, if it's not something karmic that your soul decided to keep for the rest of your incarnation, of this particular incarnation, listening to this video, otherwise everything is just a message and a lesson for you. Your body is essentially showing you by either experiencing, mental symptoms like depression, suicide, anything that is mental, mental, emotional, including stress, extreme anxiety, phobias, or whether you are suddenly or had at some point suddenly started to experience a physical condition, whether it's autoimmune, it could be AIDS, it could be absolutely anything. The most important thing to realize is that if you're open to the framework that this is just a message for you, and you most likely will get the message in the session of what this is trying to show you. If you make those corrections in your life, if you take the message seriously and you make the changes, you will heal. On top of that, in the QHHT session, when we find out what is the message, what is the purpose for you, if you no longer need it, if you are ready to release it, that it can be healed instantaneously. But this is very important. Your higher self knows if you are serious about this or not. So you cannot just ask for healing, because you could be healed and 1 week later, if you are not really involved in your healing, if you're not accepting it, or if your subconscious derives any sort of benefit from what you are trying to release, it will come back. And it's not because QHHT or other type of healings did not work. It's because you really need to dig deeper and deeper and deeper into your subconscious. And it's really easy to do, by the way, and really find out what is your baseline. And you can heal anything, except, again, if it is a karmic choice for the rest of your lifetime. But most things are not. So that's the good news. Excuse me. Good. So how do you prepare the day of the session? You might find a lot of information about what to eat, what to not eat. When we do the QHHT training, we are told repeatedly, Dolores Cannon never, ever talked about any sort of restrictions. I would say, I personally tell my clients to even have a bit of a coffee, maybe not a extra large coffee, definitely not triple espresso type of beverage before coming to the session, because you don't want to be really anxious and over caffeinated. But a little bit of coffee and whatever you typically eat is perfect. So just have a normal meal, just eat whatever your body needs. Most importantly, listen to your intuition, listen to your body, and follow what feels right to you. But just know there is absolutely no requirement. Although you will be receiving a lot of healing and a lot of energetic recalibrations, there are no requirements to eat in any specific way or to not drink coffee the morning of or anything like that. I would personally recommend take it just a little bit easy on the caffeine. Don't go crazy about it. But otherwise, just eat what feels right to your body and take care of the body. After the session, by the way, hydrate a lot more than you would otherwise, because the amount of work and release and energetic healing and recalibration that you are receiving will be quite a lot. So remember to hydrate. So anything that is hydrating, including soups and grounding food, are really a wonderful idea for after the session. Okay, and then let's just talk about this. How do you pick the best practitioner? I will say this way. Right now, I'm in the training for the level 3. I'm in that process, and I don't really know how long it will take, but I guess it will take a few months to complete and to reach level 3. What I can tell you is that I worked with so many people even before getting to this level. And I have heard other people having other results. And what I can tell you is it does not matter the level of the practitioner. So even if I'm at level 3 and you see this video, and perhaps you only have access to a level 1 or to a level 2 or to an intern, which means the person hasn't had enough experience to become a practitioner. They're just beginning. If you feel attracted by a person, do not look at what level they are. Do not look for a level 3. Do not look for a level 2. Do not look for anything other than what your intuition tells you to pick. And that is the right choice. It has nothing to do with the practitioner. When we ask these questions, our minds want to know, am I safe? Will I have the results? Yes, you are safe, and yes, you will have the result, and it doesn't have to be a level 3 practitioner, but this is the most important criteria. Pick someone who resonates with you, see if they have a clarity call available. Maybe they don't, but maybe they have a YouTube channel, a social media, maybe they have just a picture on the practitioner listing website from QHHT. And by the way, this is valid for any type of healing, any type of container that anyone holds for you. The most important factor is for you to feel safe with the person and for you to trust that, yes, this person will be able to hold a space for you. It has nothing to do with their skills. It may not even have to do with how many sessions they've had so far. Do you feel good and comfortable with them? If yes, that is probably your practitioner. So just really trust your intuition. All right. So then, when you get in the hypnosis part of the session, just know, especially today, you will not feel hypnotized. Hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness, and I practice modalities that take you into different states, hypnotic states, essentially. But at all those levels, the most important thing to know is that you trust that you are taken wherever you are ready to be taken safely, and to know that you are not supposed to feel hypnotized. You are supposed to feel relaxed. You will access a different state of consciousness than you would typically in your day-to-day life. So you will not feel hypnotized, you will feel relaxed. And if in the session your mind offers you, I'm not hypnotized, this is not working, the best thing you can do is to say it out loud. And your practitioner will tell you, yes, I know, you are just keep telling me about it. I'm making this up. Keep talking in the session. That's all you have to do. Just keep talking and trust that you are in a different state. In this state, you may feel that you're not hypnotized, it's not working, you will be. When you listen back to the recording, you might be just very surprised to discover that you won't remember most of the things that you said in the session. Or perhaps in the session, you feel that you've already known all the answers, but when you listen back, you might discover that they came just in a different order, in a different way, said slightly differently, that it just clicked and it fell into the right place for you, and it just gave you that extra freedom and clarity that you need in order to move forward. So when you're in a session, just trust, know that you're not supposed to feel hypnotized. You're not supposed to feel that anything else comes through you, speaks for you. It is not real like that. It is you channeling your higher self. It is a very safe space. You are in your higher self container. In QHHT, when done properly, we only connect to the higher self. And if anything else comes through, it is because your higher self considered that that is the highest, most healing experience for you in the day when you have the session. So trusting that you're hypnotized, trusting that you can relax, trusting that you are safe, trusting that you're not supposed to feel hypnotized, and You're only supposed to feel relaxed. This is why actually in QHHT we are being told you have to put the client on a bed. Your body needs to relax on a bed so you can forget about your body. And even if you're aware of your body, you can really focus deep inside. And no, you will not fall asleep. Just stay with the practitioner's voice. You will not fall asleep, but you will feel very relaxed and very safe. Before going any forward, I just want to clarify that QHHT works for any belief system. If you believe in nothing, but you are open to trying hypnosis, it will work for you. If you are particularly spiritual and you have your own beliefs, it will work for you. There is no conflict. If you belong to a certain religious group and there are things in QHHT that don't work for you, you can just drop them. But in itself and in the container of a neutral practitioner, QHHT is a very neutral container. So this means it will work for you irrespective of your beliefs. And a lot of times, a lot of the clients who have never been hypnotized before, who don't have any sort of beliefs, they're just curious or looking for healing, they have the most exciting experiences, and they're taken in places that some of us go over and over again to have sessions and in order to get there. So all right, so we talked about the higher self. We talk about how not only the container for QHHT is the higher self, but all the information comes from the higher self. You are channeling your higher self. You might be experiencing yourself as a starseed, as a being of light, as an angel. You might have angels or other parts coming in. And that is because we do not have just one part of ourselves. In this universe, in this existence, we have many higher selves. We have many parts of us, and they are all us. So in a session, you could be experiencing a committee where there are different, and you're aware there are different beings, or you may just, you may feel, see, just know that there are many beings. You may feel the tone of the message is changing, and that's how you become aware there are a few types of beings. Or you could have angels, archangels. Essentially, anyone could come through, but just know that the container is held by your higher self. And whatever parts that are in your highest good to experience in the day of the session, whatever parts need to come through for the highest healing, that is what will happen. With that said, if you have more than one QHHT session, most likely none of your experiences will look the same, and you'll be very surprised by how different they can look. In particular, the first session is a lot about healing and clearing the slate, but subsequent sessions actually can look very different. I have one client in mind who in the first session went to a typical past life. And in the second session, she went on another planet underwater and met a very interesting being that was the only being on that planet. And she had a very, very interesting, unusual experience. And she was very surprised by it because she found the first experience very healing. She had a first session very, very short because her body was getting tired. We didn't even get through all of her questions, but it didn't matter because it's not about the questions. It's about surrendering and allowing the highest degree of healing. All her concerns went away, so she came back for a second session. The second session, she did not expect to go somewhere else on a different planet. I think she was also experiencing a life as an energy or a cloud somewhere overlooking the earth for a while. So it was very, very interesting. And in the third one, she went directly into accessing her higher self. She got just a few messages and then it was done. So all your sessions can look very, very different from each other. By the way, when I mention healing, this is very important to know. If you think that the healing or whatever results you had in the session got reversed, this is why. I think I touched on it earlier, but in the session, you can receive a lot of recalibrations, a lot of healing. Actually, in my experience, based on the results of different clients, a lot of symptoms, mental, emotional, physical, can go away. However, you are given instructions and advice on what has caused the problem, and you will be told what you need to do in order to heal it. If number one, you get out of the session and you doubt that it happened, or you get out of the session and you do have a subconscious baseline that actually does not allow the healing to remain, it will come back. If you get out of the session and a lot of the symptoms, or all of them even, have disappeared, and then you think, well, there's no reason to follow instructions anymore. I already got the results. I don't have to worry about it. Guess what? The result will come back, and your higher self will not appreciate you not showing up for yourself. So, it's such a privilege to receive instantaneous healing in the sessions. Do not take it for granted, and take very seriously the instructions that you are given, because it really is a shortcut for your healing. And the more you follow through, it's so important to have integrity and to show up and to do your best. It's not about doing it perfectly, it's about doing your best in order to maintain the results. So just keep that in mind. This video is getting very long, so I will stop it in the middle and I will continue after, because actually I do have a meeting soon. So let's see, what else? I've never been asked this question before, but I've heard of it. What if I get different answers, or can I get different answers in different sessions from my higher self? Am I even speaking to my higher self in that case? Well, of course you can get different answers in different sessions, and this is why. Because you are a different person after every experience. And as you are changing, and as you are coming to a new session, and as you have made changes in your life, or you have not made changes in your life, these are equally important, you will get a different set of answers. It's also important to know that you might get, especially right now, particularly exactly right now, it's June 2025, or if it's been happening for a while now for you, it is perfectly normal. The timelines are shifting very, very fast, and we are all co-creating this together. We are all waiting for each other to come together in this lifetime, but everyone is moving and shifting a lot and very, very fast. So depending on the collective, depending on everything that is happening around us, we might very well get different answers at different times. And just know that you get the deepest answers that you can get at any point in time. And if you follow the advice, you might get different answers next time. Another question that I may have answered, I actually don't remember at this point. Will QHHT work for me? Yes, QHHT will always work for you. And it will show you where you are in your connection with your intuition, with your higher self, with yourself, with your body. It will show you where you are in your understanding of how your higher self connects to you. A lot, if most of my clients see images, and I'll talk about this more in depth later, but a lot of my clients see images to a different degree when they go in the session. Sometimes they feel that they make it up, but later on, after a few sessions, they become really vivid and they know, gosh, I never made it up. So just trust you're not making it up. But people like me, I do not see, I have started to see images right now, particularly if I do energy healing or reading for someone else. I'm given the information if appropriate when I do it. That's a different container. It's not QHHT. It's in my mentorship or healing sessions. But I did not know that my primary way of connecting is clairsentience and claircognizance. So I was one of those people who went to a session a few years ago and got very little information. And I trusted that even though I did not receive much, it works. And I went ahead to become a practitioner, and I went ahead to do this for a few years now. But I did not know that I had these senses. So for most of my life, until maybe 41 or so even, I thought that I was too sensitive and I was making things up and I was imagining things out of nowhere. But I didn't know that I actually felt the information in my body, and I just knew things. And it was really a journey to discover how those work. Let me know if you want to hear more about that, because it's so important. So the session will work for you, and it will show you where and how you can connect with your higher self. And most people are not like me. I always seem to have had the most challenging journey, so I can tell others this is how you do it. I understand the worst case scenario. I've been there. That's how you get out of it. So let me know if you have any questions. I really haven't had it easy at all, but it's such a gift because I can tell you what's what right now with a very high degree of confidence, because I got myself from no connection to being very, very connected. And I was absolutely shut down energetically, intuitively. And it's been a journey, but if I could do it, you can do it too. And most importantly, you can do it much faster because the times have changed and the energies are very supportive and supporting. So I'll take a break now, and I will make another video when I can because I'm about to hop on a session. I really want to give you as much information as I can, because some of our minds really need to know what to expect and love to know more. So I'm very, very, it's such a privilege to be doing this work, and it's such a privilege to have to share what I have learned. And with that said, I only covered one page out of 3 I was going to talk about. So we'll be back. I hope you are well. I may just post this video as soon as I can, and then just cover the other questions later, because I want to make sure there are resources available out there. So if you see this, please check and see if this belongs to a playlist. If it does, I will post it in the comments. And if there are other videos, please go ahead and watch those as well. And if not, stay tuned. I'm going to post more information shortly. And also, please comment and let me know, was it helpful? Do you have any extra questions, any additional clarifications you'd like me to go over? As you've heard this information, does it resonate? Would you like me to clarify something else? Keep in mind, I have 2 more pages to go through, but I would really appreciate it if you could let me know what your questions are, because it would be so much more potent to answer exact questions, especially because I keep having these conversations all the time, but I never wrote them down. So I would love to know what you're thinking. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in part 2 of this Q&A. Please comment down below. Let me know what else you'd like me to cover. If it's not on my list, I would very, very gladly talk about it next time. I hope you're well. And if you haven't signed up for a session, please go ahead and do it. Sending you much love, and really be well.